Hello everyone, it's 2 o'clock on Tuesday, and guess what that means? That means it's Technique Tuesday. Hooray! How is everyone? Happy New Year to everyone that is watching. And if you're watching a replay, if there's a little red live button up in the corner, that means you're actually watching it live. If there's no little red live button, then you're watching a replay. And both are fine. You can still get just as much information from a replay as you can from a live. So I hope that everyone has had a fantastic New Year's, that you were able to, and the Christmas break, all of that was a good time for you, and you were able to spend the time either with someone that you love or have just doing something that you enjoy. I'm just having a look here to see who's here today. Hi, Margaret. And we've got Janine. Hello, Janine. How is Colorado today? We've got Chris from Melbourne. Yes, everything is good for the second day of the year. Not very far in yet, but I know it's going to go fast, just like last year seemed to go super fast, right? Hello, Suzanne. Hi, Marilyn. Marie, how are you? I hope your Christmas and New Year's was good. Denise, hello. Hi. Are you off work this week, Denise? I'm just wondering, does the office close down over Christmas? Hello, Marsha, all the way from Texas. Hi, Gina. Hello. You don't see the live button? Well, that's interesting. I see the live button, but maybe it might depend on where you're watching, if you're on Facebook or YouTube. So I am not sure. Yes, it is absolutely live right now as I'm saying this. All right. Let me have a look. Jolene, hi, Laurie. We've got people from everywhere today. So I think it's a time of year that a lot of people are home. Am I right? And I did notice we had a lot more people. We have a lot more people from the US watching this time slot, but less people from Europe because it's kind of like early hours of the morning over there. So, but here it's 2 p.m. in the afternoon, and I'm just thinking, do I want to have a nap after I finish this video? I might. It's that time of year, and I had a really late night the last couple of nights, and I'm feeling it today. No live button on YouTube. Okay, that's fair. So Chris is saying her live button is at the bottom on YouTube. There you go. Maybe that's helpful. Happy New Year to you too, Lani. Hello. Hi, Tisha. All right. So no matter where you're watching from, I hope that your New Year's was fabulous. And what we're going to do is we're going to get started. I am going to show you something new today. I've sort of the last couple of videos been leaning more towards showing some new products. And I'll switch over to the desk so you can see what I'm talking about. Let's see how we go. All right, switch over. There we go. All right, let me get rid of that. All right, so this is our new mini catalogue that is coming out this Thursday. You will be able, if you're a customer, you'll be able to order this from Thursday onwards, whether you go through a demonstrator or whether you go through the online store. Okay, so that's what's happening this week. This catalogue that we've had for the last few months, this one is saying goodbye. Denise very kindly went through this one for me and marked down if items were carrying over to the next catalogue or whether they were R for retiring. And there's a lot of R's in this catalogue. So there are a lot of items that are saying goodbye. Some have already sold out, but there's still heaps left. So if you're interested in what's still available, go head over to the online store and you'll be able to see in the last chance products list what is still available. It also tells you if it's low in stock, so that but at this point, we've only got a couple of days left anyway, right? So Janine's saying she sees it now, Chris. There you go. All right. Yes, I know, right? There's definitely, I think a lot of people forget. I mean, I forget there's anybody else on any time zone other than my own until I'm talking to people and realize that it's, some completely different time of day. So we tend to get focused on our own time zone, which is fair enough. That makes sense. But yeah, when I do these lives, I certainly learn who is when everywhere. Okay, so I'm going to be playing with something out of here today. And I want to show you, it's something that does involve a little bit of technique. It's nothing difficult though. And I want to show you how it works. There's a new product that we have that is a hybrid embossing folder. So we have got a number of hybrid embossing folders. This is something that Stampin' Up! Have started doing in the last couple of years. And we have several. I had a look. We've got the doilies in the, and let me grab it quickly, in the annual catalogue. The only hybrid embossing folder we had in the mini that's retiring was the Stars at Night bundle. And here in Australia, that has actually sold out. So we don't have anything available there. But the delight, see how we've got both the embossing folder and we've also got the dies next to that? This is what they call a hybrid. So what a hybrid means is it not only cuts, but it embosses at the same time. And the embossing folder and the dies have been basically designed to work together. And so you get a really interesting effect. It's not just a die cut, it's embossed as well. Okay, so this is what we're going to do today. And then I'm going to show you how I use this to make it even more amazing. So there's the delightful doilies that we have in the annual catalogue, the sweet citrus, and also the tree rings. These are the only three that are in the annual catalogue. Does that make sense? Oh, there you go. So Chris is telling everyone where to find that live button. Oh, you have the hybrid. Oh, you have a hybrid folder with tree rings, but you haven't used it. Yep. Hello, Deb. How are you? Hope you're well. All right. So these three are the ones. So if you like to die cut, then hybrid embossing folders are going to give you an extra level of interest with your dies. Okay. Now, in this catalogue, we've got a couple of hybrid embossing folders, but you can actually see one of them right here on the cover. See this interesting effect here. This is created with the hybrid embossing folders, and I needed to get these. They're called Thoughtful Moments, okay? And you can see there are lots of different sentiments in this set. I wanted this set because I think they'll be fantastic for scrapbooking. Now, if you're a scrapbooker, these are going to be right up your alley, but you can use them. We're going to make a card with them today. Obviously, they look great for cards as well, but I particularly bought them because I had scrapbooking in mind. I think they're going to be really great for my scrapbooking classes. So this is what the dies look like. You can see it is a 3D embossing folder, and it's also 6 by 6, 6 inches by 6 inches. So it's a nice big one, and it has all of these greetings. Thank you, happy day, thinking of you, hello, love you, and so on. Now, some of these will be particularly good for scrapbooking. I would think the thank you, the hello, I've already got plans for a hello page, the celebrate, you make me happy. These kind of things are fantastic for scrapbooking pages, whereas things like thinking of you or get well or with sympathy or just because, those are probably more for cards. So it kind of depends on the greeting. You've ordered it, Marie. I think you'll really like it. I really love this. I think it's fantastic. Hi, Shirley in the Hunter. How are you going? All right. So I have got both the dies, and they come together. You can't buy them separately. They come as a set. And here in Australia, they are $67 for both the dies and the embossing folder. So you get the embossing folder for that price as well. Now, die sets are like 61 or 63 for the average set. So actually, to get the embossing folder with it as well is, I think, a really good bundle price. So, hey, Jennifer, how are you? So I'm going to open these up, and I want to show them to you. Now, there are 10 dies in here, and I was thinking, yeah, 10 dies, probably one for each greeting. But actually, no. All right, it's very interesting. We have one die that cuts out all the greetings, okay, all at once. Okay, so what you can do is you can cut them out all at once, or if you don't want to do that, you can just put your piece of paper behind the one that you want to use. All right, so you don't have to have them all cut out at once, although I am going to do that today. And then as well as that one die, there's another 9 dies, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, that cut out little rainbows and hearts and stars and flowers and things like that. Okay, so kind of huge, right? And I think it'll be a really useful little set. So I will actually go ahead today, and we're going to cut this out, and I'm just going to use a piece of basic white cardstock. So let me show you how to set up your folder. So on one side here, if you look at it, the top or the front of the folder is where the Stampin' Up! Logo is, okay? If you open it up, okay, if you feel the back of that front side, you can feel that the words are actually indented, okay? But over here, they are raised, okay? So I've got a raised design here and a indented roll here. So when I put this is half a sheet of A4 cardstock, so it's almost exactly the right size to go in. When you put that through, I bent it. When you put that through, okay, I just want to make sure that I'm going to cut out. You can see that you're going to cut out all the words. And what's going to happen is that I'm going to, because the bottom side is raised, when I cut this, it's going to be raised on this side because the raised edge is going to push up from the bottom, and then the indented side is going to allow that paper to go into that indent. So that's why you get a raised edge, okay? Now, a couple of little tips about embossing folders. Let me grab before I go too far, let me grab my cut and emboss machine. Let's bring that in. And I'm wondering whether I'll need to zoom out at all, but let's see how we go. Okay, here is my cut and emboss machine. Now, when you are just cutting and embossing like usual, I think everyone who has used a cut and emboss machine is familiar. We have the base plate, which is plate number 1. Okay, that's just the base platform. Then we have what they usually call a thin die adapter, okay, which helps raise our projects to the right height to go through the machine. And then we have cutting plates, and you can see this one has gotten quite a bit of use. Okay, this is cutting plate number 2. Okay, so sorry, 3. So the base plate is 1, this one is number 2, and then we've got our 2 cutting plates that are both 3. You put them around the right way. There you go, 3. Okay, 1 and 2. So when you are doing embossing folders, especially 3D embossing folders, you get rid of these and this extra plate and only have the platform, just the platform. And then you're going to need this. Now, when you buy your cut and emboss machine, it comes with all these pieces, but you can purchase this as an add-on if you want to. This is the grey specialty plate. As you can see, it's plate number 4, and this one is used for embossing folders. It says quite clearly here, this is not a cutting surface. Okay, so you're going to use just the base plate and the grey plate, and then your folder. Okay, so let me grab this first of all. We have to set this up properly. All right, so I've got my paper inside. If I put the paper inside without the dies, I'm just going to emboss. I am just going to emboss these, and that's fine. I could do that. That would look rather nice. However, what I want to do is I want to cut at the same time. So I'm going to set this up, and I'm going to put this so that the cutting edge is facing towards the paper, but I'm going to put this on to these words, and you'll kind of feel it kind of clicks in. You might have heard the little click noise that kind of happened when it got into the right place, and when it's in the right place, it doesn't move. Okay, so you know that you've got it right. And then I'm going to fold this over on top. Sorry, I need to just do it away from my cut and emboss machine because there's not enough room. But hopefully you see now what I'm doing. Okay, so I've put this in here so that my paper is the cutting edge of the dies are facing towards the paper, and then I'm going to put the whole thing through. Does this make sense? Oh, that's okay. I know a lot of people ask sometimes about how these folders work, and I think it's really, they're very simple to use, but you just need someone to tell you, right? All right, so don't be scared of hybrid embossing folders. They do an amazing job. Once we've put that directly onto our base platform, we can put the grey plate on top. I always position my embossing folders with the fold of the folder towards, so it goes through first, okay? And it's meant to be less hard on your plates, on your embossing folders, sorry, if you do it that way. All right, so I'm just going to reel this through. You'll hear it makes a bit of a clunk noise. Don't panic about that. That's simply because there's quite a bit of stuff going through, okay? The dies and the paper and the folder. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring this out. I'm going to open it up. And what you will see when I take this off is that not only has this embossed, and it has also cut. Well, not only is it cut, it's also embossed. So can you see how nice these look? I think they're great. Look how nice. And I think they're super, super cool. All right. So you could use them just like this, you know, with the white on white. There's nothing wrong with that. I think it looks really quite classy, white on white, don't you think? You'd looked at it but glossed over it. I think it's a really good set, Chris. It's so good. So, all right, so we've got all of our bits and pieces. I'm going to take these off, and they come off easily, so you don't need to worry. They're loose on top of there. I like this hello. In fact, that's the one I think I might use today. So let me pull these all out. And then any words you don't use this time, you can put them aside and use them for next time, right? So I'm going to have a little, what would you say, like a little container or something with my unused words in it. So I'm going to pop this back, and it just goes back over all those little shapes and things that are on there. Okay, and we'll close that up and pop it away. Now, I had a little play with this earlier because I wanted to make sure I knew what I was doing before I showed it to you guys. I mean, I don't always know what I'm doing, but yeah, I just wanted to make sure I did. And I colored some, okay, and I'm going to show you how I do this, all right? So in this case, I used Flirty Flamingo, which is like a pinky apricot-y kind of color, and I went over and colored them. And I used my brayer for this, all right? So let's talk brayers for a minute. They do look really good, don't they? It's a real wow effect. Exactly right. All right. Now, I use this brayer. This is a new brayer. This is a silicone brayer, okay? And the silicone brayer is different to the brayers we've had in the past. So if you liked or didn't like the brayer, it's time to just completely refresh your mind about what this brayer is all about. I'm not going to show you everything to do with the brayer today because I'm still working it out myself, but I will show you how I used it to get this effect, which I think is really nice. But let's just talk quickly. In the 17.5 years that I've been with Stampin' Up, I have, in that time, seen 3 different types of brayers that we've had, okay? First of all, we had this, okay? This is the Speedball rubber brayer. And when you push it, okay, it's a little bit soft. There's a bit of give in it, okay? You can kind of feel it. Yeah, it's a little bit bouncy, if that makes sense. And I had a couple of these. I had a love-hate relationship with the brayer initially, to be really honest with you. When I first was doing this, I tried to use the brayer without success and didn't really know what I was doing. I had a friend, a team member actually, who wanted some help using the brayer because she was getting a not a very good result. And so I went over to her house and we spent an afternoon going through a ton of paper to try and get it to work. Now, back in those days, we used to sell glossy cardstock, and glossy cardstock worked really, really well with the brayer. Okay, but for the life of us, we could not get it to work properly. It turned out that she wasn't using the glossy cardstock that we sold. She was using photo paper, thinking it would be exactly the same. So, you know, like the photo paper that you buy for your printer. So that's what she was using because it's glossy too. And we just could not get a good result. When we switched over to the glossy cardstock that Stampin' Up had, it worked perfect. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I would not have thought it made so much difference. But yeah, I still have kept hold of mine too. I did some fantastic different projects over the years with the brayer, both on glossy cardstock, but also just on basic white cardstock, what we used to call whisper white. Same thing though, basic white, and got some really great results. Okay, now, then when they did away with that, sometime after that, they brought in these little guys, which were sponge brayers. Okay, so it's basically a sponge on a roller. Okay, totally different effect. Also got some really great effects with this. I think the effects that we got with this, you can get just as good effects these days with the blending brushes. So this, for example, this background here, once upon a time I would have used my sponge brayer to get this like blended background, but I used blending brushes for this. So I'm talking about these. Okay, so these are fantastic for getting a great blended background. So I will play around with my brayer. I did have a little bit of a go at doing a background the other day, and I got a very interesting effect that I ended up liking, but it's not smooth like this. The difference this time is that this brayer is silicone. It's not rubber. So when you press it, there's no give. It's hard. Okay. And so it picks up the ink differently to this one, picks it up quite differently, and then it lays the color down quite differently. So I know that there's going to be a ton of different things we can do with it, but that very hard no give surface is really great for going over words like this. Okay, so it's a different use, if you like. So let's just pick a couple for fun. I noticed this morning when I did this, I did, like I said, Floating Flamingo, and this was my first attempt. And see, I got some of the ink in the middle of the Y there. So I didn't like that so much. And then the same thing, I used Pretty Peacock and got a little bit of ink in the middle of my Y here. So if you have a lot of real estate on your words, you need to be careful that you don't get extra. Now, how would we fix that? We could easily cut out, maybe one of those little hearts or stars or flowers and pop it down here so it covers that up. But if you don't want to have to cover it up, maybe we need to have a little think about that. So I'm going to try a different technique that I haven't tried yet in a minute with the brayer, and we'll see if we can eliminate that. But I'm going to do this one just to show you. This is ideal on the glass mat. The glass mat is really great as a brayer surface or as a blending brush surface because it's smooth and and completely flat and hard. So it's going to be really good for this. So I'm actually going to use, I'm deciding what color. I'm thinking about making a card with Pool Party. And so maybe I will go with the Pretty Peacock simply because that's a great color to work with Pool Party. And I'm going to do like I did, something about the brayer. You'll notice it's got these little metal kind of bars here. That is actually meant to be a stand. So if you want to put it down, it doesn't touch the surface of your table. Okay, so it keeps it just up off the table so don't put it down this one with these poking in the air. You want to have it going this way so that these actually become like a little rest for your brayer to sit. Okay, you have an old spibble. Yes, it will work with it will work with the folders. In fact, let's do it after this and have a go. Now, when you go to run this through this way, I've been turning my brayer up the other way so that these little guys are now in the air so that I don't dig them into my ink. Okay, so when I've got it sitting on the table, I want it to be sitting on those, but when I go to put the ink on, I'm going to turn it up the other way. You don't have to, but that's just a little tip that I think helps. All right, so I'm going to roll, and you'll notice it's just rolling as wide as the ink pad is. Can you see that? The color is just going there. So I'm going to move it along and get the whole thing covered. All right, so I'm going to, and as I'm going, I'm kind of allowing it to roll around a bit. So you want to keep doing that a little bit, because if you only go around once, it's really easy to miss some. So if you do a number of times, you're going to get the whole thing coated in color, and that's what you want. Right, so let's have a little look at this hello here. I'm thinking there's a bit of real estate in here too, so I'm wondering if I'll pick anything up there, but we'll find out. So I'm just going to put this straight onto my glass mat, and I'm going to roll it over. Okay, I did get a little bit there. Now that's just one roll. Okay, if I go backwards and forwards a couple of times, I'm going to pick it up a little bit more color. I'm going to get a bit more color on here. Okay, now I'm going to go from a different direction because I want it to give it a more even application. All right, so I have got a little bit of extra there because there was extra. So you notice when I did the celebrate, there's not very much in between the letters, so I didn't get any. So let's show you what I mean by that. Let's find one that doesn't have many. Okay, here's a celebrate again. All right, let's pick up some color. So this is kind of like your introduction to the brayer. Now notice that there's also ink all over here. That's where I grab my cleaning mat and I'm just going to wipe that off. And that's what I love about this, is it just wipes straight off your glass mat. You haven't got to, like if I was doing this on grid paper, by the end of this session, I'd have to throw that piece of grid paper away. This time I don't have to do that. All right, so I'm just going to hold one end and roll it along. I pressed harder. Okay, So here's the thing then. Don't press too hard if you don't want any to go in between. That's better though. All right, can you see how that's working? All right, so you could go along a whole bunch of these. I've got another yellow one. Sorry, another hello one, not yellow. Hello. And let's see if using a lighter hand I can get rid of some of that in between sponging. All right, I'm going to just hold the edge of it, and I'm just going to go one way. Yes, I'm not pressing quite as hard this time, and you can notice that I didn't put any ink on that. I'm going to do this a couple of times and go from a couple of different directions. All right, this time I've got no in between because I didn't press as hard. So the first time I pressed harder, can you see this? And I ended up with ink in between. This time I pressed a little lighter and I didn't get any ink in between. So that looks better. So let's hold that one out. That's the one I'm going to use. And I'm going to wipe my table, my mat again. I'm just using, this is just, I wet the mat just with water under the tap. There's nothing special in it. If you did have anything particular that you need to get off, some Stampin' Mist actually works really well as well. So if you're having trouble getting a particular substance off, give your Stampin' Mist a try. Now, I also used, you could also put your brayer onto a Stampin' Scrub, but I'm just using my cleaning mat, my glass cleaning mat for my brayer as well. And because our ink is water-based, it just all comes straight off. And I'm going to pop it down on its little feet there. Oh, that's okay. You can have a nap anytime you like, Margaret. Oh, that's okay. That's absolutely fine. You're very welcome. All right, so let's make a card with this. All right, so I'm going to use, let me move a couple of things out of the way. We'll get rid of these. And I'm going to use some other of my new favorite dies. Now, on Sunday night, you might have, for those of you who were around, I made these cards. Remember this? For anyone who was watching on Sunday evening, and I showed how to do these backgrounds. And then these labels here are new dies, and I really like them. They're part of the Thoughtful Expressions shapes, and I'm going to use the biggest one. So let's move that out of the way for a second, and I'll need to bring my my machine back in a minute. I'll move my brayer out of the way. I might have a little play later with these and see how they work with the words. I'm not going to do it right now, but just wanted to give you an idea of how easy these are to use with your brayer. Okay, thank you. Yeah, they were fun to make. All right, so let me grab a piece of Pool Party cardstock, which I popped out just before I started. I actually cut it up. Actually, there's a whole base, but I think I might use, let me get my trimmer. I cut another piece. Well, this one is fine. So this is 10 centimeters by 14.3. Okay, and that's going to be on the front there. And then I've got some new paper to show you as well. All right, so this is a celebration paper. Okay, this one is actually free. In Australia, it's free with a $90 order. Okay, so that's your level 1 celebration items. There are lots of different items available, but this is called Softly Stippled, and it matches the Stippled Roses bundle, which I love. But it's got some really, really nice different pieces in it. But the one I want to use is going to be Pool Party. I like this one too. This is really nice. But that's not going to match this one I think will be good. So this is Pool Party. Let's pull that out. And I'm going to make this 0.5 centimeter smaller than the other piece that we just had. So we did 10 by 14.3. So this is going to be 9.5, 0.5 centimeter smaller. If you were doing it with US letter, you'd make the layers 1/4 inch smaller than each other. So I'm just going to, this piece now is going to fit, let me grab this, is going to fit straight on here like so. All right. Now, I want to put the whole thing on, oops, that came out a bit faster than I was anticipating. That's okay. Let's Let's move that a little bit. And I'm going to pop this on so that it's in the middle. Because this is a simple shape, nothing too complicated, I can cut through 2 layers at once, both the DSP and the base cardstock layer. So I'm going to be running this through like so, okay? And I'm going to bring in my cut and emboss machine again. So let's see how we go here. I've got my base plate, number 1, this one right here. And then I need to grab my next plate, which is number 2. Let me angle that a little better so you can see better what I'm doing here. Right, and then base clear plate number 3. Now I'm going to pop this, my card that I would like to cut. And the only thing I need to make sure I'm doing here is I'm going to center this. So I'm actually going to stand up so I can see that I've got it in the middle. I find if I stand up, you get a bird's eye view and you're much better at getting it straight. That's pretty good. Then we put our clear plate, second clear plate on. And I'm going to roll this through. Now, because I'm going through 2 layers, I'm going to go all the way through and then I'm going to bring it back because I want to really make sure that I get a good cut. I love this set. For anyone who loves label dies, how good are these? Look, so there's 4 of these lovely labels. So I'm using the biggest one, but these are really nice. Look at these. Look at this gorgeous shape. Isn't that cool? I love them. I think they're so good. They do match a stamp set. You can see it's got a hummingbird in it, but and some other flowers and bits and pieces. But I really bought it for the labels because I love nested labels particularly. All right, now I'm just going to turn this over and make sure it's cut properly. Looks pretty good to me. And let's move this away. Now I can use this for something else. That's a lovely focal piece. It'll look good on something else. And I'm looking at this and going, you know what? I actually didn't quite get that centered. I actually have it slightly closer to the top than it is to the bottom, but that doesn't matter because we're going to go this way anyway. So my question is, will I go here and have this on a pool party background, or will I go, let's have a look, will I go onto the white and have a white background? If I'm going to use white, I could also grab my blending brush and maybe blend a little bit of a background behind it. That might look good. I think the white looks good. What do you guys think? Do you think the white looks good? And I'm thinking maybe if I use my blending brush with a bit of pool party ink behind that, that would look really nice. Shall we do that? Is everyone happy with that? Oh, I know. Brea's one of those words the phone doesn't recognize. It goes, I don't know what that is, and makes it, something else that you didn't mean to write. It's just silly. You like the white? Okay, white, white, white. Yes, everyone thinks the white. Me too. All right, so let's go and grab some pool party ink. And I've got my blending brush here. And I'm going to, because this is going to end up right here in the center, I'm going to add some pool party ink right here. Now, if you wanted a bit more drama, you could add darker colors such as Pretty Peacock or even Lost Lagoon. They all kind of match in very nicely. But I think in this case, because we've got the dark letters, I think the pool party will look good with that. So let's see what this looks like when I put that there at the back. And then I've got a bit of color behind. What do you think? Does that look good? I think it needs a little bit more, but I like it. I think it looks great. So we're using a few different techniques today. I know we've got our blending brushes, but what I really wanted to show you in today's technique class was how to use the hybrid embossing folders, some tips for using them, and then how to get a great effect with these new ones. Now I'm thinking I could just glue this straight down, Or I could put it on dimensionals to create a bit of shadow. I'm definitely putting dimensionals behind my word. What do you think? Do we need dimensionals behind this piece as well? Or do we want to just pop it on flat? Either way, it's going to work. Blending brush color, yes. Like the pool party background with the blending brushes. That would look good too, yep. Everyone's got a different thought on what they like. Flat, says Chris. Okay, Chris, you're the first in, so we're going to do flat. So I'm just going to use my Tombow. You could use whatever glue you like. When you are doing gluing with a centerpiece like this, you also want to have some glue going around this center edge because you don't want that kind of to be flapping open in the middle. So we're going to add a little bit more glue around that centerpiece. Like if I was just putting the whole thing down, it doesn't matter as much about the middle, but because we're doing it this way with a center cut out, you really want to have your glue around this edge as well as the outside edge. All right, this is looking kind of cool. I'm going to put some dimensionals behind this. So let me come in with those. Oh, this one's got an added extra bonus of a paper clip stuck to it. Not sure how that happened, but oh well. All right, so I'm going to put my dimensionals behind here. And I'm thinking this one and this one, we probably need some smaller dimensionals. So let's use our minis. It's always good to have some mini dimensionals on hand. You can cut the big ones down, but it's a bit of a pain. And I would rather, I don't know about you, but I would rather use minis that are already been made small for me. And they're only cheap too. I take the backs off them. All right. And let's pop this hello, which is very nice, by the way. Here. Now I feel it does definitely need some bling. Definitely. Hey, Solvega, nice to see you. All right, so I've got my dimensionals behind the word, but not behind. I've kept this bit flat, just the word is popped up. We have got these lovely Pretty Peacock Blooming Pearls. These are in the mini catalog, but they are going to carry over. They're not discontinuing those, so I'm very happy about that because they're one of my favorite embellishments at the moment. And the other thing that I really like, if I can find it, I don't know whether I have it. Oh, here it is this brand new. This is another celebration item. This is your brand new crinkled ribbon, it's called Pool Party Crinkled Ribbon. So if I wanted to, it doesn't tie bows very nicely. It's a little bit too thick in my opinion for that, but you can tie a very nice knot with it. So let's kind of pull it gently, and I've got this. So what I can do here is I can have this little piece popping here in the corner. So let's use our ribbon scissors. I recommend, little tip, always keep a separate pair of scissors that you do not use with glue, that you do not use with anything else, and designate those your ribbon scissors, and then you keep them for that purpose. I even put some ribbon around the handle so that it reminds me and reminds everyone else that they are my ribbon scissors. All right, so I'm going to pop that here in the corner. And to that end, I will use glue dots. Glue dots are great. If you don't know how to stick something down and you think, what glue should I be using for this or that? The answer is usually glue dots. Glue dots are great for attaching things that might not easily attach. All right, so this is, I love this crinkle ribbon. It's just, there's something really tactile and nice about it. It's really cute. Oh, hi there, Kim. First time watching. We love having newbies, so lovely to meet you. All right, so I'm going to pop a couple of these handy, and I'm thinking you can use your take your pick tool. You can use point of a pair of scissors. I'm just going to add a couple of these little Pretty Peacock gems, the blooming pearls, to around my words there, and I'm going to call that a finished card. Whoops, better hold it in the right place. That's because I moved my phone when my cut and emboss machine was on the table. So what do you think? Do we like this? Is this a, oh, thank you so much. So the technique really today is to show you how to use hybrid embossing folders, and one way to use the brand new brayer that is going to be in the upcoming mini catalogue. Like I said, this time it's very hard compared to the old brayers we've had in the past. So they are going to give you a different result because they will lay the ink down differently. But as you can see, that harder surface is really, really great for doing on something like these pieces. And I've got all these other words that I can add to something else. There's a happy day. There's a get well. Thank you. Love you. Love you. Be nice for a scrapbooking page. And I like the just because. I think the just because is nice too. So there you go. So there you go. What do you think? Do we like these? All right. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new and you haven't done that before. I'd love to have you come back and watch again to see what we're up to. Next Tuesday, I'll be back with a different technique. But don't forget that Thursday this week is the day that the brand new mini catalogue goes live. And these dies, as well as a whole slew of other wonderful, wonderful things, will be available for the first time. So if you're a demonstrator, of course, you're a bit lucky. You've already had access to that. If you're interested in the glass mat, you can get that for free during from this Thursday until the end of February, just by joining as a demonstrator. This is one of the gifts that you'll receive. You'll also get the silicone mat, which is this one, and the glass cleaner. These come in there as well. So if anyone has any questions about that, let me know and I'll point you in the right direction. I hope everyone has a fantastic afternoon, the rest of the day, or wherever you might be, whatever time of the day it is where you are. I hope that the rest of your day goes really well, and I will see you again soon. I'll be back Friday night live, guys. Have a fantastic week. Bye-bye.